Crossovers are the best thing that could ever happen in movies and TV shows because we get to see our favorite characters on the big screen. Disney did make some famous crossovers, and that was the Wreck-It Ralph sequels. Wreck-It Ralph and Ralph Breaks the Internet, where the first movie had video game references like Sonic, Street Fighters, and Pac-Man, and the second one filled with even more references like Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars, and way more, including Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Now, I know it's not technically a Disney movie which was made by Warner Brothers, but it did have Disney characters coming out of different scenes in the movie. But there was a movie you have probably forgotten back in the 2000s, which was the best crossover films of all time, and that was 2002's Mickey Mouse House of Villains. It was a film which was first a 2001 to 2003 spin-off series on the Disney Channel called Mickey Mouse House of Mouse, which was a crossover series starring Mickey along with his friends, Donald, Goofy, Minnie, and Daisy, including various Disney characters coming from the 1930s from the 2003, as Mickey, the host, shows short cartoons way back from the 1930s from 1999. In 2002, the movie was released in October, which was Halloween. But anyway, let's go watch this movie. I haven't watched it in a very long time. So the movie begins as crowds of Disney villains walk inside the clubhouse with such angry faces of demise, as Jafar was at last giving this guy a golden beetle. Then we cut to the scene where Donald was practicing himself to scare some people, as Daisy and Goofy don't think he's scary. We cut to the scene where Minnie was behind the curtains, looking awfully many villains inside the clubhouse as she got worried. But Mickey just said that it's Halloween and hopefully they don't have any tricks. Then we see our main villains named Cruella de Vil, Captain Hook, Ursula, and Jafar along with his sidekick, Iago, having plans to take over the club. But they have to wait until midnight, which, now that I think about it, what was the point of taking over the club if they have absolutely no idea what to do with it? Like, find a slave to the money or entertainment? Then the show finally started as Count Mickey Mouse as the host like in the series, where the first short cartoon starts to open the first one, Trick or Treat, released in 1952. The plot of this short is about a witch named Hansel along with his flying broom named Beelzebub as he saw Huey, Dewey, and Louise going to Uncle Donald for trick-or-treating, but Donald started to prank the boys instead. Hansel attempts to help the boys only to get tricked again by Donald. So Hansel and the Triplets decide to give Donald a taste of his own medicine by making magic and scaring the heck out of Donald, and finally going some treats by spraying with him with even more magic and getting one big headache. We cut back to the club and cut to Donald where he still wants to scare some people as he encounters very scary than himself. Mickey then tells that mechanical shenanigans and cookies can be scary as well, as he shows another short, Mickey's Mechanical House, released in 1999, where the plot starts where Mickey was getting tired of his old house. So he decided to move to a new place with minor details of the house, which was electric. So he bought the house, then he started to hate it because his dumb robot keeps putting him back to sleep. So he stopped this madness as he watered his robot until his house gets out of control. Luckily, he escaped and decides to go back home. Meanwhile, Donald is still trying his best.
We got our eye on you.
As Mickey overheard Donald's disappointment, he decided to bring up a short called How to Haunt a House, 1999, where our friend Goofy got into an accident and turned into a ghost, where he learns how to haunt, which was finding a hauntee, being creepy, looking like a ghost, being at the dark, and bumping in the night. And we get our iconic scream. Back to Mickey, he shows another short called Lonesome Ghost, released in 1937, which is about 4 ghosts who are just bored and don't have anything else to do, then to find a ghost exterminator phone number on the newspaper as they decide to call them just for them to scare them. After all that, the ghost gets himself scared. Mickey shows a short about Goofy dressing himself as a fairy as he shows a short called Dance of the Goofies, and again 1999, where fairies that kinda look like Goofies, where their task is to unbloom the flowers as one Goofy overslept and doing a terrible job unblooming them as the main Goofy got kidnapped by a kid. Luckily, with the help of the clumsy Goofy, the main Goofy escaped with him, and this time, the clumsy Goofy did a good job. Then we cut back to the club, but with the main villain's perspective as Iago is growing impatient, as again, Mickey shows another short called Donald Duck and the Gorilla. In this, Donald and Huey, Dewey, and Louise heard the news that a killer gorilla has escaped the city zoo. Donald doesn't believe it except the triplets as they kept pulling off pranks each other as the real gorilla shows up and keeps on chasing Donald except the triplets. Luckily, the only way to stop it is to just use tear gas, which I don't know how they even got it, but at least it's useful against the killer gorilla. Then we cut back to the club again, as this time we get some action. After 45 minutes, we cut to Minnie, who is behind the curtains, who is behind the shows, which is her job, got harassed by the villains as Cruella turned off the lights, only to startle Mickey. Now this gets very interesting, as this song gets cued. The song finally started, the name's It's Our House Now, as the villains start to rain terror on the clubhouse, causing Mickey and his friends to do absolutely nothing at all because how spooky it is. So Mickey and Minnie got dragged outside of their clubhouse as the new host, Jafar, got interrupted as Mickey got back inside, telling him to get out of his clubhouse. Well, that went well. So, as Jafar is the new host of the clubhouse, shows a cartoon which shows Donald bring some real fright called 1999 Donald's Halloween Scare. In this, Huey, Dewey, and Louise goes trick-or-treating as he got scared by a masked man with a hook, only to reveal it was just Donald just scaring kids for their candies. The triplets discovers that they got a little payback time as they put up a wanted poster to make them think he's a murderer, and pretend to be zombies so he can teach his uncle a lesson. To make it up though, Donald's joined with his nephew trick-or-treating, and ends the short with a big scream. Back at the clubhouse, Minnie fails to get the clubhouse back. And last but not least, the last cartoon for the night is 1999 Hansel and Gretel, as Mickey and Minnie Mouse walking at the forest as they bump into a candy house as the witch decides to offer them some sweets, and letting them both stay, and later to reveal that the witch is planning to eat them. So Mickey learns the truth and decides to escape their candy house with Minnie. So we cut back to the clubhouse, and then we go back to Mickey dressing his iconic sorcerer costume, getting ready to get the House of Mouse back. As Mickey enters the house and approaches Jafar, he summons a magic ball of electricity to Mickey as he keeps grabbing and then tossing it to him as Jafar gets serious by aiming the electric ball at Mickey's hat, causing him to disable his magic. Thinking they lost hope, Aladdin went to the back door and telling the gang to use the magic lamp. As his friend tosses the lamp to Mickey, he rubs the lamp causing Jafar to get stuck in it, and the day is saved. And that was Mickey's House of Villains. Now, a lot of people says that this movie is not that kind of good, because they say it's a long movie with short cartoons and say something about common sense, like what was the point of taking over the clubhouse, or the irritating short cartoons, or how long it is just for us to see the villains take over the house. But this always happens, like in the spin-off TV show House of Mouse, and it was fine and all. Yes, the short cartoons are irritating and keeps on interrupting the film, but it was great and all to revisit all the old cartoons we might have forgotten. But to me, it's the greatest Disney crossover of all time, and I don't recall this a bad movie per se. We get to see our favorite villains on the big screen, and that was so cool. But anyway, thanks for watching, and also if you want me to talk more about Disney content, go to my Twitter and my DeviantArt where I make art and all. Goodbye, happy Halloween, and I will see you next time.